overlapping ADC played from both of these bottom laners. With the Nocturne down, I'm curious to see how quickly we'll see her show up, or if we end up getting some acknowledgement towards those mages. The Nocturne is banned, which means Orianna is available. I thought this when I watched the last time Rookie was given Orianna. Why are we giving Unk's one trick? Like, yeah, it just seems unnecessary. Even if you can take Jarvan here to dive it, it just seems unnecessary.
Yeah, for sure. Care, looking at that lock, did just see a lock pentakill in the last game, so perhaps riding that high a little bit, having watched it from backstage. Going to lock it in. This is going to be his counter up against the Orianna. You know, traditionally, a lot of folks very happy to take the Akali as the Orianna counter. Lock very much in that vein, and perhaps a little bit more overbuffed at the time, even post-nerfs. We'll see if he's going to be able to make that work. Vi going to give you additional lockdown onto an immobile backline mage.
It makes life more difficult for Rookie, but even with the nerfs to Neferi's ultimate on the damage this patch, I still think it's perfectly fine. As far as ball delivery systems go, it's an AD champion, so you get contrasting damage in the mid-jungle, and she's got a point-and-click dive ability. It just kind of works. Extra, on top of that, if Vi ever wants to ult Neferi, you have to make sure that that W is down, or she'll just go intangible and laugh at you. So now, what do we get to round out this first rotation? We've seen a lot of dive represented by NIP thus far. I do really like the Bard, because as you're alluding to, it's going to be difficult for Rookie this game. But if there's a Bard ult that can land on top of him, then suddenly you're not really under that much threat in a lot of these team fights.
There is. This does make me a little worried about IG's front line, because TheShy is not a tank guy, right? TheShy is barely even a bruiser guy. He has been rocking a lot of the Gnars, going for a lot of the Jace as well. He's not really been playing those like super beefy frontliners, so you're kind of opting out of that in your draft entirely if you go for the Bard at support and the Neferi at jungle.
See the Varus picked up here? And it's almost definitely going to be Poke Varus, particularly as you're saying with the very low likelihood that we're going to get a Mega Tank Scion lock-in in the top lane or something to that effect. And now when we get into the bans, I mean, Olaf's fine. Depends on what you think that TheShy will most likely be blinding. NIP still have the agency to make it so Hoya gets that counter pick in the top lane. With the Varus locked in, that is always possible to be a flex. So they might just look to ban away things that Varus doesn't like to play against top, and then it's up to IG to suss out whether there's going to be a flex going on here or not.
Yep, that appears to be what they're doing here, right? They take away the Olaf. Maybe they'll ban the Jace here too. And at that stage, you know, there's not a lot of great options up against the Varus left, unless TheShy is going to really dig deep and pick up something a little different. Instead, they're just going to ban away the Jhin here and take away safe bot lane options for Awesome. Say, hey, wherever we take this Varus is going to be a problem. It's either going to be lane dominant in the bottom lane up against whoever you're leaving alone with this Bard, or it is going to be strong in the top lane. You're not going to be able to pick Olaf into it. So kind of leaving that decision-making over to IG. NIP is going to have to take another champ here, probably just going to be some kind of laning support, nice. And then they can keep this flex alive until, I guess, B5.
I do like your point there on whoever's going to get left alone is the thing, considering that Bard is most likely going to take advantage of roaming around the map with Wei. So what on earth do you want to match it with? Banning away the Nautilus and the Alistar are both good avenues. The Shen, open. I'm trying to think of what we could see here. There's a wacky Silas angle for IG right now if TheShy does want to take that in the top lane. Don't know how much of a safe blind that is. I don't think it really matches that description, but it's the man himself. We'll have to see. It could just be a Gnar, could just be a Yorick, something that bog standard. And with the Varus in the game, Sivir is a pretty safe option, regardless of whether they go towards it, because if it is the poke Varus, you can eat up a lot of that poke with the spell shield. Opting for the Corki, though, which does give more counter dive potential for jumping on the Varus if you are left alone in isolation.
Yeah, it could do a little more return damage to a Shen's Spirit's Refuge as well, whereas the Sivir are going to get pretty hosed by that. They're just going to take the Rumble top for TheShy. Feels like they'll be comfortable in that matchup. It can do fine into the Varus. It's it's probably not going to get completely hosed by any kind of counter pick choice here by Hoya. Hoya looking at the Ambessa, but now considering the Varus again. I would love to see him on the Varus. I think that's really in his wheelhouse, as they do look at this Kai'Sa, and they are going to snap it up. So they're going to play Kai'Sa Shen bottom lane. They're going to send Varus top for Hoya. It's a double marksman comp with lock. NIP really looking for some lane dominance here as they effectively get themselves counter pick in all 3 lanes.
I'm really curious to see if NIP can execute on this, particularly on the top side. I expect, based on the amount of source we've been seeing out of Photic and Fengyue, they're going to at least force Meiko to stay in lane to be, you know, there as a facilitator for Awesome. But it's this top side that it just has me worried. Because Guwon has been playing really good. One of the things he's been incredible at so far is stacking early dragons uncontested to give the team that consistent soul win condition. They've had soul in 3 out of their 4 games thus far. But the Vi, it just scares me. I feel like Neferi could eat you alive if given the opportunity.
Yeah, that is always the risk, right? Especially pre-level 6. What can this Neferi get done? Can she find angles to have some impact in some of these lanes nice and early? I love to see an early bot lane gank come through this game for NIP to really set up that bot lane, or sorry, for IG to really set up that bot lane in the direction they want it to be going. But we're going to have to see. I think Neferi Bard, a very dangerous duo roaming around the map, and is really what's going to make or break this game for IG, given how tough some of the lane matchups are.
But it's going to be explosive. I look at these champions, and you alluded to it earlier. No tanks. It's a very squishy game. Some chaos is happening.
Fengyue hearing the NIP chants come through nice and early. Going to launch himself through and chunk Awesome for most of what he's worth as the waves crash. And they don't even want to let this guy back in. They're going to make life as tough as possible for the IG bot lane. So good start here for NIP off the back of the Jios.
I think they both managed to slink back in to secure themselves that level 1 XP, yep, even across the board for the NIP bot lane. So really good proactive play, burns a summoner, gets themselves off to an early lead, and listen, I know it's the first minute and a half of the game, but this is what I was alluding to. These two have had the source so far.
Dude, look at that little stat box to the left. Awesome has 0 XP still, has not gotten in range for 1 minion yet. This guy is having a tough time already. Does get a lot of damage on the Fengyue there. He's going to have to down some of those potions, but really like how aggressively Photic and Fengyue are trying to play this one right from level 1.
We do see that Awesome did keep the cleanse, so it will keep them safe as you're in this lock champ. If they want to go for another engage, and it is immediately burned again.
Nice stun found by Meiko, making Fengyue fear for his life a little bit. You're still at level 1, and finally level 2 starting to get ticked over by some of the IG members. You gotta be careful here. Ooh, just barely gets the recall off.
That one was a little spooky, but we'll be able to get the reset and come back into lane. And because of how the wave crashed there and the fact that you don't have the ability to threaten them under tower, Awesome. I mean, he's down a cleanse, but both summoners off of the Shen, so you're not honestly too disappointed. Good Fengyue lurking around mid, but won't be able to find an angle. Should be able to facilitate his jungler getting this Scuttle Crab over Way, though.
Very likely. Anyway, going to launch himself in here right away. Guwon, come over and participate if you like, but at the very least we can keep the dog in vision and held down. Way going to say thank you very much and move up towards the top side. Knows that it's not exactly what he's looking for. I would be surprised in a contest, but that does seem like it's exactly what NIP want. Hoya has the push in topside. He's walking down into the river to try to attempt a double scuttle for Guwon.
Okay, there is a lock with reset available if this ends up going into a bit of a skirmish, but both top laners bail out of the play.
Here, just throwing out some of these Qs, trying to soften up his targets a little bit. Spike comes through, Wei able to secure it. Fengyue gets stunned! Meiko with a beautiful cosmic binding! Hands over first blood to Invictus Gaming. NIP, an aggressive call to challenge, but they are stuffed.
A fantastic flash away into stun, just really well executed as we get the picture-in-picture as TheShy wanted to come down, but Hoya just lurking, trading the exhaust for the flash. Gives Wei a potential gank opening, but especially with level 6 coming around the corner, TheShy is a bit of a sitting duck now in this lane, not able to get as much done as we'd really want to be seeing, given both his form this split so far and how IG has been relying on him.
Yeah, you can imagine it was part of the play, though, and then you feel a lot better as IG. Really nice cosmic binding from Meiko found here.
Just so good as Bard, one of those champions that when we saw the Camille, when we saw the Shen spring up in priority roaming around the map, Bard was an ultimately really good champion to match it because he loves just roaming around, picking up chimes and being mobile across the map, but as a ranged champion means he can play reactively in a lot of these situations rather than having to be the one going in first. And ultimately, as we saw from Fengyue, committing yourself into a potentially dangerous situation.
Sure. Shy appears to be looking for a bit of a reset here as he just throws down the equalizer onto the wave, making sure he is going to be able to get back into the base without too much trouble. Is still vulnerable without access to that flash, as Wei is making his way down to the dragon as his bot lane secures the push.
I think that was a very narrow moment there for TheShy to push that wave in. Hoya was about 2 minions XP off of leveling up, and if he tags level 6 there as TheShy burns his ultimate, I don't think Rumble is long for this world. As he say though, the dragon setup is time to be looked at, as realistically, it's far too early in the game for any items to be purchased of note. Rookie has opted for picking up these Swifties first though, with a bit better juking potential against those nails from the lock. That is where most of his damage is.
Yeah, I
have
heard rumors of this tech, and it is what Rookie's decided to go for this game. Helps him resist those slows even if the nails do connect. And does get a flash forced out of care with that shockwave, so summoner down in mid. TheShy now going to be the target of a 3-man dive. We've been watching him outplay these all split long so far. Let's see what he's going to be able to do without the flash. Not a lot of options. Starts torching Guwon. He's going to be able to juggle the aggro. Hoya flashes away before a second shot can come through. And NIP successfully execute their dive.
Not really much outplay potential there, if we're being honest, but it means that it was well executed by NIP, playing to shut down this top lane win condition and leveraging the Shen, just leaving these bottom laners to scale in isolation. Wei, matching with the dragon though, is going to be very important. That has been... oh, hold on a minute.
Oh, Meiko was not expecting Guwon to have walked back into his jungle, and he will be thoroughly punished for that mistake. Guwon gets one back, his first of the game.
I feel like the Vi was visible on the control ward there, so I need to check the replay. I need to check the replay, see if that comes up and reveals whether that was a whoopsie-daisy from Meiko or whether that was a unfortunate accident as... oh yeah, wow, that is some heavy damage he is leveraging onto TheShy in this lane phase.
Yeah, that one hurts. He does have press the attack here, so really indexing into some of that lane dominance. Wei has access to Hound's Pursuit though, so certainly wants to get on up here. Guwon looking to cover this potential gank, but Meiko going for it anyway. It's a nice equalizer on top of Hoya, gonna burn him down. Meiko picks up the kill. Call the pack to dodge out on the turret aggro, and IG look to be able to walk this one out.
Simply not enough. Neither of these top laners with either mobility when the flash is down means that both of their ultimates are basically a death sentence when you have friends up here. So a good counter-punch from IG doesn't exactly equalize the top lane gold. And in fact, we do see NIP taking control of the grubs. That's going to be really big considering you have both a Varus in the side lane who would love to be chipping down turrets, and this lock champion who, if he's not resetting over a team fight, definitely needs a bit of help to get incredible work done in isolated side laning.
Yeah, he will certainly appreciate that. He gets the ability to just pump out some more of that damage. Side laning, not really the strength of this IG comp either, unless they are able to find opportunities to get way over there to make some of these dives happen. So for now, feeling pretty comfortable about how you positioned yourself in the early game if you are an IP. Only real bright spot here for IG so far is that Meiko has been able to get around, has been able to participate, but I think he really would have rather given those kills over to some of the lanes, especially that last one, very close to going over to TheShy from the equalizer, but was not meant to be.
Oh, hold on.
Double taunt from Fengyue as the ramp from the side of IG does get thoroughly punished. Meiko going to be stuck inside the river. He's going to die to Photic here. Flashes the wall. Seems to think he can run this one out. The ward takes an auto from Photic. Attack move punished this time. But Meiko's just got nowhere to go. He will die eventually. Getting hit by that Void Seeker all but guarantees it. He will die to the turret eventually, although he's getting into the base now. He can buy some additional time here. Nobody's going to recall to go and visit Meiko. He's going to get the execute, or at the very least give it over to Fengyue.
Close.
Well done.
Nice. Wow, okay. Really slick moves there from the support of IG to get away with that one. Burning Photic's flash. I mean, it's a trade, but at the end of the day, removing a Kai'Sa ult flash does make her a lot less scary for Awesome in the side lane, and when that Corki tags over to the Triforce, it's going to be pretty hard for Kai'Sa to resist getting jumped on by the Conqueror stacking menace in the toboggan.
Yeah, I cannot believe Meiko pulled that off, but so be it. He's out of there. And will be returning back to lane now. Happy with the result and having not given anything back on over to this 0-0-0 Kai'Sa. For a quiet game from the junglers gank-wise outside of that top lane dive. Just going to continue to clear on over. It's a minute to go until Dragon's over 2. IG did secure the first one earlier. And would like to keep that stacking going if they can, but skirmishing up against this NIP comp at 11 minutes in, certainly dangerous.
I love that outside of the junglers, the first item in the game is the level 5 Meiko getting his Mikhails. Makes him quite potent for removing both the Varus ult when we get into scrappier teamfights, but also protecting against that Shen flash taunt. As there's really not much to be done back down there.
Another shockwave on the Care. That's going to chunk this guy down pretty low right before the dragon spawns. And Rookie's not going to let him go either. Forces the flash up against the mid lane assassin. This lock counter pick not paying off so far for Care.
I don't know how we could have foreseen that this rookie guy is pretty good at Orianna. Like, I truly don't know how we could have predicted this, but coming back to bite you as we get a big play on Meiko.
Yeah, there's the alternative play to try to get some control of this dragon, just blowing up Meiko. Wei landing the double daggers through the team. Awesome. Trying to return fire at the TP in from TheShy. He layers down the equalizer, and Photic is cut off from the rest of the team. Nobody here to back him up as he gets collapsed on by the Nefiri. Tries to dive in and turn it back with a killer instinct. Does not have the damage, and TheShy chases out the rest of the crew. IG going to trade 1-for-1, get control over the dragon, and secure that one as well.
Only recompense for NIP being Hoya getting some plating in the top lane, but it's not even the full first brick tower, as he has to back off knowing that Meiko is available on the map once again. In fact, he might be in a bit of a predicament here if he goes for a play on TheShy while he is still around.
Possible. There's going to be Guwon jumping over the wall. Meiko going to spot this. TheShy just trying to get himself back over to the turret, but it is tough to walk out against this Varus, and Hoya will just finish him off 1 versus 1.
Is this Bard dead as well? That's a lot of people leveraging and no Bard available.
Oh, nice taunt connected by Fengyue. Will giving that one over to Hoya. Now 3 kills deep on the Varus. 1.2k in the lead. NIP playing through this signature pick.
Really well executed so far, but we do need to keep in mind that as the game goes on, I've said it a few times, there is no tank. These teams are both very squishy. We saw last game what a lot can do against a bunch of low HP squishy targets. It can give a pentakill over. And the same goes for IG. They may not have as much direct reset mechanics, but Orianna's quite ahead right now. She's doing very well for herself, and I think if Rookie can find a solid angle for a shockwave combo, you can basically delete the NIP roster in one fell swoop. So even though NIP have a slight gold lead, IG do have these dragons that they are stacking, taking away the win condition that NIP has relied on pretty much for their games so far. It does mean that I want to see something different. I want to see a bit more of that proactive play around the objective rather than just forcing Hoya to be ahead of TheShy.
That's why you got the 2 legendary solo laners if you are IG. If it's not TheShy, it should be Rookie. And he is having himself a pretty solid early game so far. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to keep up the execution that this man is known for on the Orianna, especially around some of these tight dragon fights. Rift Herald going to be up next, though. 30 seconds to go. 4 members already topside for IG, and they're going to look to make a play on to Care. He turns on towards Rookie, gets a chunk for about half of his HP, but dive in from IG should be successful here. Even Awesome gets his name on it at the end of the day.
Finally, the ADCs get to be involved in something positive. Huzzah. As it's been a very quiet game. We've talked a lot about how the solo laners and the top side of NIP has been proactive, but they have left Photic on a bit of an island. He's nearly finished with that hull, has picked up the Kraken Slayer already. And with the amount of dive that this team does have between the lot by Shen, the Photic does have the potential to do some crazy stuff himself.
It was really well timed as well right before Fengyue's ultimate came up, so he was not able to help out his mid laner on that dive. But they feel muscled away from the Rift Herald regardless. IG deciding that they don't want to try to challenge for this, and they will be pushed out.
It's actually a trade. Both purple objectives over to NIP, and both of the first dragons over to IG. A relatively even trade if you're able to actually leverage these objectives for NIP to build yourself up a more substantial gold lead. Get yourselves ahead on some of those earlier items, because we do see Rookie with his Blackfire Torch completed. Care really needs to get this Lichbane if he wants to be actually threatening onto Awesome, onto Rookie in these team fights.
Definitely does. So, it's going to decide that that was not the moment to fight on IG's end. It's 90 seconds on Dragon number 3. They just want to make sure that their scaling in that department is still well and truly as strong as it can be. Might be able to get another item spike on some of their members, as everybody now has their first legendary completed. Shy, though, without a turret here, pushed up a little bit far, does spot out Fengyue, and does have Wei in his back pocket.
I do like the adaptation. I know that generally when people see Rocket Belt, it's a sigh reaction, but that's because it's on the mid laners. I think here, on this game as Rumble, it makes sense, because we were talking earlier about the fact neither of these laners have actual mobility. Giving yourself the potential to dodge away from the Bar Assault removes a lot of Hoya's potential pressure. And also, he's on a budget build. He's been getting absolutely left out to dry up in this top lane, so it makes sense why you just want to get some degree of a spike, so you can stick to these people when you overheat in a team fight. As we do have dragons spawning in 26 seconds, I think it's a good time to do a flash rundown. They're all up. Every single summoner is up, in fact, across the board, so this has to be something explosive. If not, I think it's a bit of a problem from NIP. You really shouldn't be allowing this objective to go down without recompense. Care is pushing the top side, but I mean, we need to get him down here quick if we want to be able to leverage any form of contest on the dragon.
Yeah, Rookie recalls, picks up an alternator, TP's back. Just wants to get every little bit of value he possibly can before what could be a crucial fight. Rift Herald thrown down, could be a Battle Herald here for NIP, as they are going to have their lock charge forward with it, looking for the knockup onto Awesome. Will be able to find it. There goes the Killer Instinct. Photic trying to focus him down, but there's the Tempered Fate connecting on through. Guwon dives onto Awesome, not going to be able to finish him off in time as the Dragon is smited down. Shockwave connects onto 2. IG not going to be able to make another trade back, or can they, as they continue to trade forward onto Care. there. He flashes away. Photic the next target. Rookie staying on top of him with the command dissonance. Meiko takes the magical journey through the wall. Fengyue going to be able to taunt him up, going to be able to make the trade right back as TheShy continuing to try to pump the damage. Cannot find it. NIP bait them in, outsmart them, and pick up 3.
IG go hunting and stumble into a pit trap, falling completely out from underneath them. It looked so good, but Photic with both summoners plays incredibly patient, doesn't flash early, and it just leaves IG walking so overextended. As the actual dragon play itself looked decent, however, Wei was still able to get the smite down. Guwon, he was in range? Yeah, he does barely get in range for a potential smite contest, but then he jumps away to go for the fight instead. Meiko with a massive tempered fate right there, slowed down NIP's advance. And then, this is a perfectly good spot for IG, like, you should be happy. And they just get a bit too greedy. Only 3 of those legacy players chasing you down, and it's not going to be enough. Gives over a pretty substantial gold to NIP. Is it going to be enough, though, when you're facing down Soul Point, Dragon Soul in 3 minutes, when you have a lot of bursty characters? The Chemtech can prove problematic when they get to that Soul.
Yeah. You can really see they felt like they had that fight in the bag after having gotten away with the Dragon, but yeah, certainly would be in a much better position now had they just turned back and accepted what they had won. Still, IG going to be 1 Dragon away from this Chemtech Soul, not the strongest Soul in the world, but would rather have it than not. They do stay on pace to keep stacking those up, but going to be down about 3K across the map. You got to give so much respect over to Hoya. He's basically the whole gold lead.
And he's terrifying. Like, at this point in the game, he's got the Hex Tech, he's got the Stag Ship, he has got a ridiculous amount of dueling potential. Care is the target.
Wow, Wei really getting in there. Starts off with the Hound's Pursuit. Tempered Fate comes through, connects on a Care, and there's nowhere left for Locke to go. He has no flash, he has no mobility tools. Meiko takes it again. He's really stacking him up this game as he picks up his 3rd.
I kind of want to jump on the back of what you were saying there. You were talking about that Hoya is the entire gold lead. I was about to completely agree, and then I noticed Photic quietly got 1,000 gold lead off the back of the previous play. He is a 2-item Kaiser. That is very scary in these team fights, as IG is trying to sneak the Baron here. It's currently a one-man affair. Rookie's nearby if he wants to join in. I don't think NIP is the wise. They're pinging it, though.
Yeah, I mean, those dogs do such a good job of tanking up the Baron. You don't really sacrifice that much for this. Meiko and Awesome and TheShy going to make it difficult to walk in through the lane. But they finally do it, and the decision from IG is to peel off. It was a cute idea, but not one they're able to see through to completion.
Here's a Vi, does have ult, is a target that can pretty much dive in from very far away. Is NIP actually going to immediately take away the priority? Is IG, they're hesitant. Wei. They're aware.
Getting the dogs over there. Wei now sees what is going on. Is this going to be a flip? Wei's right over the wall. He's going to get his crack at this one.
Guwon
doesn't get it. Guwon locks it down and then moves right on the Wei with the cease and desist. Awesome over the wall. Right onto the Spirit's Refuge. Try to pump out the damage. He just gets turned on and blown up. Awesome. Way too aggressive on that one as NIP clean him up for free and walk away with their Baron. But IG don't want to let this go away without a fight. Tempered Fate comes on across. Connects onto Hoya. There's a big equalizer from TheShy. They need to burn down this Varus, but he's standing, he's firing, and he turns it back onto IG. They don't have the damage, they don't have the members. NIP turn it right back.
This Shen has flash. There is an angle here. They're fishing. Low mana. We'll back off. Okay. 30 seconds left now until that Chemtech Soul Point spawns. We've got to take a look at what on earth IG are going to try and do to contest, because you're facing down 4 Baron buffs. That is a lot of bonus stats layered on the fact that there is a 4k gold lead. As we get back to the fight, and it was a nice execution from NIP, and then we actually see it's only Fengyue that commits to the recall, because he's coming right back, guys. The Shockwave combo picks up too, but Hoya, with still being in that stasis, gets to live and gets to pump damage when Fengyue leaps in to turn that Flame Spitter right back around.
Yeah, so good there to land that taunt, force TheShy to turn around.
I didn't even see Death Stance. Was it? No, it wasn't Death Stance, it was just the Fairy Bleed.
Yep. And now IG really on the back foot, down 3.5K, and the lead starting to get spread around a little bit more. You called out that Photic was getting strong. Now going to be able to pick up this dragon alongside Guwon. No chance for IG to get that 4 dragon soul here. And they're just going to have to play the back foot for a little while longer as NIP with full control over the map and this Baron buff.
We do also have the Seeker's Arm Guard picked up for Hoya. Now he can take the agency of the stasis into his own hands as Guwon.
Oh, an attempted combo does not find Guwon. Big cooldowns now out for IG. And again, back foot. NIP going to get a very long turn here to do whatever it is they choose.
And if we look at like who's strong on IG, Rookie has a rocket belt, which is not exactly massive for the combat stats. Should help to keep him alive a bit more, but it's not going to be killing people. TheShy, he's not even got to his second item yet, ended up being the designated anti-healer for the team, as he is just kind of sat there with a garage build in the inventory. Does mean that if it's not Wei getting a reset, if it's not Rookie finding that big shockwave, I truly don't think IG have the damage to actually contest. Awesome, he's got 2 items, but I mean, we'll have to see. This Corki and the Kai'Sa have both had a relatively quiet game thus far, but with Kai'Sa hitting that AP threshold, quiet no longer, methinks.
Yeah, they've been so close to just taking a strong fight in their favor multiple times in this game, but have just barely been short, and that problem's just going to get exacerbated if they fall behind a gold. Equalizer comes out, doesn't do very much. Just layers down a wall between NIP and IG and helps clear out the wave. NIP going to back away, though. Their Baron buff has expired. And at the end of the day, they gain about another 1,000 gold off that power play.
I mean, NIP's going to be happy with the fact they denied the soul, but not getting that mid-tier one is a bit rough at this point in the game. If you can open up the map by taking that one down, it means that Photic can basically just stand exactly where that ward off to the left of the screen was, just in the middle of the map, and chuck out Kai'Sa W's and threaten joining any play that happens. Basically, anywhere around the tier 2 towers in any direction, this Kai'Sa mobility is going to be massive.
Photic up pretty far. They're going to dive onto him. It's not going to be enough from the Stand United to keep him alive. Guwon gets caught by the Tempered Fate. They're going to focus everything onto him next. And NIP, they step up too far, too separated from one another. Shen can't save it, and down go 2.
Yeah, don't love that. Don't love that for NIP at all. Really can't be letting that happen. It's one of the repercussions of this comp being so squishy, but also just out of position. Like, Photic doesn't need to be there at this point in the game, as he just tries to aggress onto Awesome, but, like, you could see Rookie is right there. You know that the Orianna ball is available, bare minimum. Like, Awesome tears through the Shen ultimate instantly, and I'll be honest, you might even want to let it complete, just so you could get an extra kill off the back of it, because one thing that does happen here is Guwon taps away with the Q right there that cancels the ultimate, so he doesn't get to keep the chase going. I think if that happens, this becomes a bit catastrophic for NIP. At the moment, it was just a capital W whoopsie.
For sure. That is still a lot of gold given back over to the side of IG, though. Wei going to swing the gold lead back into his favor. He completes his 3rd item. That's the Death Dance for a little bit of additional survivability. Gives him a better chance at being able to be a supplemental damage dealer for IG if he does get that big engage with Rookie like he did in some of those prior fights. A minute to go on another potential Soul Drake. 20 seconds to go on a potential second Baron.
And IG know that they can leverage the fact that they get to choose. They have the Dragon's Soul point, so they are the ones that get to dictate, do we play for Baron first and make them come to us, or do we just go wait at Dragon? They have taken complete vision control. Meiko is out of wards at this point, so they can't re-establish it or advance into the Dragon side of the map, but I think IG are more than happy here to just say, give us this Baron, give us these extra combat stats, and let us get some sieging done.
Yeah. Hoya got to regroup with the team here a little bit. Can't have him too separated off in a side lane when he's so much of the gold lead. They are working out of this Baron. It's already below half. Finally, NIP going to try to assemble and get in here. Cease and desist comes through onto Meiko, going to be able to immune the Tempered Fate. He does fall, but the Baron has already been smited down. It's in trade for Meiko. Can the rest of IG get out of here? It looks like they can. TP to an inner turret from Rookie. Wants to show up here to back up TheShy ASAP as the rest of IG are coming over to be able to back it up. Fengyue goes forward with the taunt. Not going to be able to connect it out of anybody. They start to torch him right back. In with the Hound's pursuit. One reset for Wei. Photic dove back onto the other side on towards Rookie, but Rookie was able to kite it out with the flash. Guwon going to fall back to be able to defend Photic, and they're cut off 2-2 on the side of NIP. IG starting to collapse around them to find some more. Over the wall comes TheShy, torching them as there goes the shockwave. Only finds one, but that one will fall. Meanwhile, TheShy was picked off by Photic.
Guwon dead. This will be IG looking to pick up the soul. No reasonable contest outside of a stray Void Seeker, but those dogs have formed a perfect circle around the dragon to keep it safe from a steal. No potential. Care is here, though.
Wow, Care thinks he can take this one with the help of Stand United, but diving right back across him is awesome, returning plenty of damage, and Meiko here to cover. Rookie gets over the wall, finds good damage on a Hoya. Fengyue the first one down. Hoya going to follow soon after. It's a double kill to Awesome.
And that desperation from NIP seeped through and was just a bit too much. As we go back to this secondary play, with Rookie TPing in on the flank, they're able to counteract. And I want you to keep your eye on Guwon because he does it again. We have Photic dive off to the side to burst out Rookie, but flashing over the wall, Wei is about to chase the ADC, and again Guwon finds the cancel, keeping Photic alive. It's the only reason NIP have a chance to play the rest of this fight, but it is just a slow move from IG to walk them down until TheShy pulls the trigger here and says, you either fight me now or die. And I mean, trading the life for the jungler when there is a soul point up right there, I think you're going to be pretty worth with that one. Yeah,
Doesn't look great on the box score, but good sacrificial play by TheShy there to keep that fight going and put IG in a position to obtain that soul uncontested.
He read the patch notes. They changed the Aegis of Valor thing, where if you're auto-filled now, you don't get it if you lose, but you do get it if you win regardless of grade.
Exactly. The wall, Meiko going to be able to dodge back away, but they did send Wei out on the other side. Tempered Fate going to keep him alive, but it causes the shockwave to miss. The non-bow from IG might end up costing him big time, but that's a solo kill from Awesome onto his counterpart to keep that Kai'Sa down, and constant coverage stops them from reaching the Corki. It's another double kill to Awesome. This is a winning fight for IG somehow, despite the bot start, as Wei going to pick up even more. There's Hoya, the big shutdown, going the way of Wei.
And that protected Corki is now getting to tap on the mid lane tower, but he has to be careful. Lot is en route.
Yeah. Maybe going to be able to clean this one up. Oh yeah, there is that ultimate, and that is going to be an easy cleanup. 1,000 gold shutdown to Care, that's not nothing.
No, foolish ADC thinking you can stand mid lane alone. But that is at least a silver lining for NIP. Has to be pretty damn silver at this point, though. We do get Fengyue on a flank. TP's not really on the table, so this is just one man against all, and he's going to get the hell out of there.
Who's flanking who on this one? Is Fengyue will be forced to back on away. So let's check out that last play again.
Hey, so it started off with Meiko getting picked, but having the barb ball is enough. And then everybody kind of converges on this play, jumping onto the Orianna ball, might I add, but another counterintuitive Bardo inverts it and stops the actual damage coming out. And once again, we see another nice bit of heroics to protect an ADC as Guwon charges up the Vault Breaker, but gets flashed in front of by Wei, only for his ADC to die later to the lock. Regardless, though, enough work was done by Rookie and Co. to tag down Hoya, knock down Photic, and it is jobs done after that, breaking open to the in-hit. Elder is up in 2 minutes dive now.
Trigger pull from Wei, gets in there with the Hound's Pursuit. Guwon tries to turn it back onto him, but he cannot match this damage. Wei picks up the kill. 50 seconds down for the NIP jungler, and IG once again secure themselves run of the map.
Barely didn't have Flash available there. And the wave clear between Locke and AP Kaiser is not fabulous, so I do think they're going to have to forfeit at least mid inhib. Might be mid and bot inhib. Hoya on his way. May look to force some kind of play with Fengyue's flank going on here. They know TheShy isn't there. He's showing on minions. This is an opportunity for NIP to get a punch back that I think they really need to look for if they want to convert into a Baron Elder combo to get themselves back into this game. They're bailing off of it though.
It would still only be a 4 versus 4, and Meiko has the heal, Awesome has the cleanse. The options are just so limited for them here. So IG will get away with the double inhib take off that pick onto Guwon. Huge rewards for a quick little pick. And now everybody going to try to reset, get back out here for Baron number 3, spawning in 30 seconds. Guwon face checking into the river, gonna get Novon. Photic going to try to get onto Awesome with the killer instinct, but the damage output from IG is way more than what NIP can match with just 2 members. Way gonna be able to finish off on towards that marksman. Hoya trying to make a desperation play happen, but they're ready for him, and they take him down fresh off of the stasis. Rookie chasing down Fengyue, the last remaining member, and this is the man who stepped up when TheShy couldn't to pick up this game with IG. They are going to be able to close out game number 1, and it was a rocky start, but IG take the lead in the series.
Dealing the first blow to NIP in Group Nirvana this split. IG will equalize the game score, take themselves to a lead in the series, and while it took a bit of time to get going, it was a damn bloody game once it started.
Oh yeah, fight after fight after fight on close margins. Early on, IG could not get across the finish line, and they gave up a ton to NIP for it, but they never gave up. They kept looking for those angles, and eventually things just started ticking. It was really Awesome, who felt like he came into his own. He found some really critical fights there towards the back half, and was able to basically solo out Photic every single fight.
And it felt like NIP just didn't follow their own formula. They did a good job of shutting TheShy down and getting Hoya ahead on this Varus. He was by far the strongest champion in the game for a majority of it. Unfortunately, the one contesting right behind him was Wei on this Neferi. That dog did some serious damage, and not just comboing with Rookie for those dive-in Orianna Shockwave one-shots, but also just the amount of skirmish potential and the fact that Wei got the team to 3 dragons that early on. Bringing it to Soul Point and then forcing the enemy team into bad fights is how NIP have been winning, and IG stole that win condition and said, thank you, we'll have that. Come walk at a Chemtech Dragon and see what happens.
Yeah, the Chemtech Dragon doing a lot of work there. The Death Stance third doing a lot of work there for Wei's Neferi as well, as they were really able to just get that extra little bit of survivability onto the Neferi, and it ended up making a huge amount of difference, as once he wasn't getting blown up fresh off of the combo with Rookie, these fights just started to look a lot better for IG.
And I think in this game, everybody had highlight, everybody had low light. It was a solid punch-for-punch exchange. Fengyue and Photic got off to an early lead in the bottom lane, but then Meiko was just better around the map for the most part. Honestly, we could talk about all 10 players and actually have some material. There was nobody who was just in side lane jail for the whole game not getting to play. You would say TheShy was that guy, closest to fitting the description, but even then there were several fights where it was his equalizer that made the difference in slowing down and enabling Wei and Rookie to win the fight for him. So, utility rumble, I guess that's the counter to the Varus top lane in the end.
Yeah, MVP is a tough call here. I think Rookie is the safest call. I think he has the most solid all-around game. Very few mistakes, very consistent presence. Wei obviously comes away with the impressive box score and is very critical in some of these later game fights. Awesome as well, has some really, really great individual fights in there. I think you can go for any of the 3. I think the other 2 would very much surprise me.
It's going to be a split vote, I feel. I would be
for sure
incredibly shocked if we see 8 out of 8 for any of the 3 of them, regardless of how good each individual did in their own role. But it was a team effort. And I will say, it was a competitive game on both parts, which speaks incredibly well for us getting a full 3-game series and a competitive group Nirvana top end. And that's what these teams need. They don't just want to stomp 6-0 through their group, because if you don't get some good competition, some good stage practice for an entire split, and then have to rock up to playoffs and play against teams who have been getting battered around by BLG, AL, WE, etc., I don't like their odds. So I think this is good if this ends up going to the full 3 and both of these teams get a bit of that stage, you know, resilience practice, because that is what this game felt like. Resilience on both parts, and IG just held a bit firmer.
Yeah, that's certainly true. And I don't know, I mean, my biggest concern here if I'm NIP is that you kind of got your exact game plan that you wanted through the earlier stages here. You did shut down TheShy, you did put Hoya ahead on one of his signature champions, and it just didn't matter. There's that big awesome team fight that we talked about earlier. That's awesome, the player, not the adjective. And Wei doing his role there as well to keep his marksman covered.
I do think that potentially if they had just given a bit more of a lead over to Photic so he could threaten Awesome through that early game, even if they just spare one extra play where they sent people top lane and have Fengyue just roam bot, be there, get a taunt, blow a summoner, and then use his ult to rejoin a fight later on. I feel like that might have been the main difference maker, because Rookie felt nigh inaccessible to NIP for the majority of this game, so having one extra point of weakness might have just been enough to get NIP over the edge. However, something important to note, Rookie can't play Orianna again. That's gone. You're at least safe from that, NIP.
Yeah, that's... We'll see. We'll see what the draft looks like in game number 2. Definitely felt like the Neferi was able to get a lot done in some of those later fights. They didn't have a good answer for it, even with Hoya being able to build up that lead. So perhaps needed to get the lock snowballing. Perhaps some of those closer fights just needed to go a little bit more in the direction of Photic. But either way, they are going to be back to the drawing board for game number 2, and they're going to need to reverse sweep a best of 3 if they want to be able to walk away with the win.
Alright, yeah, I think we get to see it will be Wei awarded the MVP.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we really would have been upset if any of the 3 got it that we listed off earlier. Well deserved for getting the team off to that early game start around the Dragons that compensated for the gold lead that NIP accumulated. And in the team fights where it mattered, pulled his weight. Definitely pulled his weight.
I think a really strong performance. I think the pick ended up working out great. It was super early in the draft, but somehow not a lot of great options to respond to it in this double marksman plus assassin draft, and it does end up coming up big for IG comboing with the rookie over and over again, with the rookie Shockwave. And, you know, big dub for IG here. Let's see if they're going to be able to replicate it. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get into game number 2, but stay tuned.